This video is going to be a film study look at the Lions' coverages against the Arizona Cardinals in their win on the road in Week 3, 20-13. I'm going to focus on TERRION Arnold versus Marvin Harrison Jr. The title is a little bit misleading, perhaps, because I will talk about multiple guys in coverage. I think the depth of this Lions defense really comes through when you watch the film, among other elements, the physicality. Yes, there are defensive pass interference calls on TERRION Arnold, Carlton Davis III, which that one I'm not too sure about. There's certainly a lot of contact there on a third down, I believe, in the second quarter. But the underneath coverage, there's guys getting collisioned at times for Arizona, tight ends, wide receivers, that I think has a cumulative effect on guys who like to run routes, like to get free. Let's be honest, in the modern game of football at this point, guys are used to getting free releases, running downfield as they wish, and the pass is either completed or not, depending on the quote coverage. There's another element to it that I think is underutilized in the modern game, and that's contact, making physical contact, not ceding ground and allowing free releases. This Detroit Lions defense, I think, is handsy from a coverage standpoint with TERRION Arnold and Brian Branch at times. Amik Robertson, perhaps, as well. Brian Branch is just a hammerhead sometimes when he's tackling people downhill. You'll see two examples of him making great tackles out in space or coming downhill to limit the completion to a short gain. We're going to get the film started. I think I've got 22 coverage snaps to go over, some that'll be covered in more depth than others. We're going to try to focus on to Harrison against Brian Branch. Nice matchup here. I think it's a good throw by Kyler Murray. Davenport here looks like he jacks up the left tackle. Marvin Harrison Jr. has an opportunity to catch this football by the front pylon. Quick throw by Kyler Murray. Look where this ball is thrown. Harrison is on the 12, so really nice touch from the standpoint that he ends up making contact with the ball in between the 1 and the 2 yard line. I think it's a nice throw, maybe 6 inches too high. Marvin Harrison Jr. probably feels like he'd like to have that one back, but as it stands, you get a penalty on Davenport and gives Arizona the first down. Arnold again not on the field. I think you have Kindle Vildor up here to the top side of the screen, who doesn't look too bad on the coverage snaps that I saw from this game. Matched up against Wilson to the downside of the screen drives, but thereafter only had 11 yards rushing. Arizona's running backs totally shut down. I did a film study video on the run defense. This one is focused on the pass defense. This will be a pretty lengthy video. Second possession, Arnold is still not on the field. You can see Kindle Vildor is on. It's a nice challenge by Carlton Davis III. 3rd and 4. Able to prevent Michael Wilson from getting the first down. There's a staggered release here, and Wilson's going to end up running the out. Robertson is running with Marvin Harrison Jr. And another situation where Carlton Davis III is involved in a really close play from the standpoint of does he have the first down or not. A really muddy read here by this, what ends up being bunch, and you can see the communication happening right now with Amik Robertson making the call. He takes over Harrison Jr., the outside receiver, and then Vildor takes over the point man. And then further to deal with the communication a little bit, Robertson passed off Harrison Jr. again to Brian Branch. So communication, Carlton Davis III, who doesn't look as athletic to me as I thought I saw 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, but he's still in good coverage relationship oftentimes, and at least in that case. Nonetheless, look, TERRION Arnold matched up against Michael Wilson. Wilson ended up running all the way across the field, essentially a dig route, kind of this bail man by Arnold. And these in cuts, I got 3 different times during the game when these in cuts by Michael Wilson are beating Arnold to the spot, and there's space there for the quarterback to get him the football. For whatever reason, Kyler Murray, I guess, doesn't think he can throw it over the top of this linebacker level guys. In this case, I think Arnold certainly has a lot so far through 3 games, but I think the Lions are willing to live with the physicality, in my opinion. Same possession, third possession, 2nd and 11 now. A couple of things to say here. So you're going to get an in-breaking route by Wilson. Branch is going to drive on it on this 2nd and 11. Ends up being a 9-yard gain. So in this case, it's Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Barnes is out for injury at this point. Watch what he does with the tight end's little vertical stem. He just walls him off. And I think that has an effect on multiple things. It can have effects short term on the actual play here because it can release the safety to drive on it. Branch is, I mean, he's already driving on it. It's a nice throw by Murray underneath to get Wilson in position to get the first down. Unfortunately for Arizona, they're unable to convert there. This is the 3rd and 2, the very next play. You do have Arnold back in the game, matched up with Marvin Harrison Jr. This time it's Jack Campbell, by the way. From a defensive standpoint, these drag routes, oftentimes mesh is the concept. I think this is Wilson here. Watch what Jack Campbell does to him. Just a little shoulder barge, destroys the route. That's not Wilson, my apologies. But Arnold running just behind Marvin Harrison Jr. Doesn't have to defend the route because there's pressure, first of all, from Aiden Hutchinson. So you've got DJ Reader and Onwuzurike for certain situations against the run. Aleem McNeil, I know, got hurt in this game. 4th possession now. It's going to be a 1st and 10. Downside of the screen, Arnold against Wilson. Another in cut where I think there's an opportunity to get Wilson the football if involved in the tackle. It's like 25 seconds left in the second quarter. And it's a quick throw by Kyler Murray. You can see the ball is already out. Outside leverage with the tight end. I think it's McBride. Outside leverage of Rodriguez. They got Jack. Really cool play here next. I think this one is intentionally underthrown by Kyler Murray. It's actually targeting Marvin Harrison Jr. against TERRION Arnold. Kind of able to turn a little bit more here because of the underthrow, if you will. So that's probably something that the Lions will be working on with him is not panicking when it looks like the ball's thrown. But if everybody's got their mouthpiece in and you're in a loud-ass stadium, it's difficult to hear a ball call, meaning, the ball is thrown. Meaning, in high school, youth football, we would do that from the sideline so that you, the DB, would hear it. But there's still a time lag there for you to hear everyone's voice. So the communication's got to come on the field by someone. His back is turned. That's when shit that people think it's so easy to say, oh, he's just got to turn around when he sees the hands. Well, receivers are going to show hands late so that you, as the DB and man, can't pick up on it and then turn and try to make a play on the ball. Pressure again. Hutchinson and Davenport. Again, really unfortunate that Davenport's going to be out for a long time. They say possibly for the season. But it's so early in the year, you never know. It might be beneficial by the Lions, or pressure show, I should say. Almost a mug look. You got Branch up on the line of scrimmage. Anytime he's lined up here, he's always a threat to be used as a blitzer. TERRION Arnold lined up over the outside receiver. Really not much for him to defend. Branch and man on the tight end. A lot of contact here between Davis and Harrison Jr. Don't get me wrong. They end up calling it. I think they would have kept the flag in their pocket if Carlton Davis III was able to get his hands off of Harrison a little bit sooner. Probably now, if he weren't still grabbing or in contact with him. But Harrison Jr. is possibly, who grabbed first? A little too long while the ball was in the air. He believes that he caught the Lions defense off guard because they weren't lined up. So he's chosen to throw the football even when there is nothing there. Kirby Joseph is in position. Underneath throw, an underthrow, if you will. TERRION Arnold is there because it's a cover 2 technique. Kirby Joseph plays it brilliantly. High points. Even if this ball is thrown between the top of the A and the end line in the end zone, Kirby Joseph's going to be able to make a play on the ball or at least get up there and challenge it. There's really nothing there, in my opinion, unless Kyler Murray can throw this football in this area of the end zone, which would be a really, really low percentage chance play. I'll let it work. Moving forward, third quarter, this is a 3rd and 9. I thought that for 2 weeks in a row, the Lions defense, I feel like, has done a pretty good job on 3rd down. I think 3 of 10 for the game, maybe 3 of 11, I'm not sure. They're going to run a speed option here and isolate Davenport into the boundary. Cool concept. Running it to your left with a right-handed quarterback means you may have to pitch it with your offhand. Branch and Joseph, probably one or both of them would have had the interception if they didn't run into each other. I think you've got significant contact throughout the play here between TERRION Arnold and Michael Wilson. He's trying to disrupt the route. I think Wilson has presented him with some issues with his agility and ability to change direction, and so TERRION Arnold wants to get hands on him. Twice that would call it, and certain fans that would bitch or complain about it, absolutely, and want it to be called just because someone is actually competing. Onwuzurike, again, I think he got held up there, but they are giving Kyler Murray a heck of a time just to get throws off without any pressure. Great competitive play, if you ask me. Perhaps my descriptions haven't done it justice. So many guys. This Detroit defense plays incredibly hard. They play incredibly physical, and multiple guys got hurt on Sunday because Arizona, in some cases, matches that physicality. I think that's the way the game's supposed to be played. I don't mean to sound insensitive about the injuries at all. I hope Davenport, Barnes, Anzalone, McNeil all can come back earlier than reports suggest. But the Lions, to me, play the game the way they're supposed to on defense. Physical, make contact, and do not cede ground. We're now into the fourth quarter. Harrison on this kind of stutter deep out. Threatens Arnold with the stutter go. You'll see a stutter here in a moment. I got it paused. So he's going to stutter his feet a little bit and then go, which pushes pushes Arnold off. So he thinks it's a vertical. Soon as Arnold turns his hips, you can see the ball was already out. Kyler Murray and him were in tune, in phase with the route. Difficult to defend that. The stutter makes it look like it's going to be a stutter go, and he sold it very well, if you ask me. I don't think the outcut necessarily was the best one by Marvin Harrison Jr., but he knew he had to win. At this point, he knew he had to win. TERRION Arnold was pushed off, scared by the vertical. Perhaps not scared, threatened by the vertical is a better word. Still fourth quarter. We're about 13 minutes left. You do get a penalty. I think it's on Pascal here. Incomplete pass to Harrison. Deep right against Carlton Davis III. Again, challenging. Making Harrison Jr. have to make a catch under duress. You did see a big hit. I guess it's by Pascal. Thought it was on Zarique at first, but it makes sense that it's Pascal because they called the penalty on him. Man situation up here to the top side again. An in-breaking route by Wilson. Perhaps has space to go ahead and get him the football, but Kyler Murray is looking in the opposite direction, going deep. Kirby Joseph there. Carlton Davis III there as well. A lot of contact. Physical plays by this Lions defense all the way around. Nice hit here for a tackle by Branch on the slot to the boundary. It's a 1st and 10. I think it's the 9th possession for Arizona, so they're still down 10 at this point. I think 20-10. Great downhill burst by Brian Branch. I think he played an underrated football game the other day, and from the standpoint of how he was able to match cover 1st and 10. 2 plays later, we've got a speed out up top by Harrison Jr. against Arnold. Definitely contact right as the ball arrives. Back, and that creates the elevation on the throw. Great challenge by Arnold. Those guys are not scared to be physical. Arnold, Davis, Robertson, Branch, they're not scared of DPIs. They're not scared of contact downfield. There is something to be said for that. Also, you have Davis chasing, I think it's Dortch, across the field. Robertson chasing Wilson. No collision because there is no inside linebacker there. They were blitzing him. I think I give you the end zone angle on this one. I did not. My apologies. So we're now very next play. And you're going to get a nice challenge by Kirby Joseph on the tight end over the middle. I think it's McBride. 4th and 6. A little over 11 minutes left in the game. Lions bring in heavy pressure, leaving the middle of the field pretty much wide open. 4th and 6, like I said. They chip or try to chip Hutchinson with the little receiver. Again, I think it's Dortch. He's able to impede. Joseph making contact with the tight end, probably up top by the left hash, going after him. This week coming up against Seattle, you're going to face DK Metcalf, a great big target, possible back shoulder fade guy. I wouldn't say that Tyler Lockett and JSN necessarily threaten in the same way, but both of those guys have great hands and run great routes. I lost a couple of plays here at the end, so this will be the last play that I show. We're at about 9 minutes left in the game, so I actually lost significant plays. I think 4 that I had queued up. This is Robertson against Dortch, running with him. Underrated game by Robertson, if you ask me. Issue that the Lions have to overcome. Losing Barnes, losing Davenport for a longer period of time than Barnes. Anzalone had a concussion last week. I think Branch is in the protocol, but I'm quite sure he'll be fine. He finished the game, to my knowledge. The big one is Davenport being out for a while. How do they mitigate that? Barnes, to me, is just as important. That sounds wrong to say because Davenport's been playing his ass off. But Barnes dropping into coverage, Barnes against the run when he is lined up at inside linebacker, brings an element that no one else can. That versatility of he might be a rusher, and no, Barnes is not a good pass rusher off the edge. He's just not, compared to the other guys that you want rushing the passer. It's not meant as an insult towards Derek Barnes. I did a film study video on Derek Barnes last week that nobody watched, by the way, but praising him the whole time for the impact that he had on some of the other edge rushers being able to get sacks because he dropped in coverage, because he got in the window of Baker Mayfield, because he had good leverage or good relationship with the receiver. They're going to miss Derek Barnes. They will miss Marcus Davenport as well. I think for the versatility and the fact that you really cannot replace Derek Barnes with anyone who's currently on the roster. Some of the other guys that are practice squad players, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, James Houston IV, those guys have specific strengths. Jalen Reeves-Maybin is in coverage as a coverage linebacker. Smart, very quick, not good against the run as a relative strength, in my opinion. Certainly not a pass rusher nor an edge defender. James Houston IV can get after the passer. Would not say that it's his strength to play in coverage. So between the two of them, Jalen Reeves-Maybin and James Houston IV, you have something that Derek Barnes brings. Obviously, James Houston IV is a better pass rusher by far than Barnes, but it's the complete package or larger set of skills that Barnes brought to the table that I think they're going to miss, assuming that Anzalone is back. Otherwise, things get really, really thin there at inside linebacker. You guys let me know what you think of the video, the plays that I chose to illustrate how well I think the Lions defensive backs competed despite the defensive pass interference calls on Arnold, Davis III. A lot of contact by those guys, to me, is indicative of them trying to compete, trying to make things more difficult on the receivers. Unless you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, you're probably not going to get 5, 6, 7 defensive pass interference calls in one game. If you think other Lions fans would enjoy this film study video, this look at the Lions coverage dynamic and coverage choices in their Week 3 win over the Cardinals, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach. Appreciate you guys' time.